Welcome everyone. My name's Jill O'Shaughnessy, and on behalf of the Board of WritingWA, I would like to welcome you all here this evening to the Rechabite Hall and the official launch of the Ubud Writers and Readers Festival, Perth. Can I just let you know, if you're perched at the back on your stools, you're very welcome to pick them up and bring them down here if you would like to, and join us up the front. But if you would like to hover under, like in the shadows, that's also fine, whatever you're happy with. I would like to first acknowledge that we are gathering here on the lands of the Whadjuk people of the Noongar Nation, and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging, and acknowledge that the land was never ceded. Could I ask first, to begin with, I would love to ask Vaughan Maguire to welcome us to country. Thank you, Vaughan. Please make him up.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very, very, very much from the bottom of my heart. As I say, it's normally us blackfellas sitting at the back, you know, in the dark. And but it's lovely to be here as a representative of my family, the Maguire Bennell Stack families. and to carry on the ancient language, the song lines that we actually produced since the beginning of time, since this earth was soft. And as I say, since the Ngank kissed the Miak, which is Ngank is the sun and the Miak is the moon. And when they actually made their romance over the top of Wajamap, which you'd know as Rottnest Island, that was our spiritual guidance, our spiritual place. And a very, very special place, a very, very sad and happy place throughout history. And as I say, we still have survived as Aboriginal people, as Whadjuk people, not only through our nation here, but throughout Aboriginal Australia itself. And I will always acknowledge my grandfathers and my grandmothers who have actually given me the breath of life, and God the Creator himself for placing us here to be custodians and caretakers of Australia. So as we walk on our journeys, stories, songs, what we carry inside of ourselves is something very, very special. Your mother or your father or your grandparents might have written those stories in you. And as my father wasn't a writer, he wasn't educated at all, he couldn't read. But Dad actually grew up through the Great Depression when great-grandfather actually went off to the Second World War. And he served for Australia in the 32nd Battalion. But as Dad was growing, he was 8 years old, and he went to a little sort of hut, Maya, and was educated through his mother and one of the dear old ladies who became a very, very close friend until she passed away with my grandmother. And they actually always spoke to Dad and said, you know, we are writing in your heart, in Ngalakagort, in your culture, in your language, and in Nunakat, in your head, all the stories that you must carry as an elder, as a loving, kind, dear old father. And as we say, he was a lawman, he was a preacherman, he was definitely a police officer, and a doctor, because every time I used to step out of line, me and my brother Barry, he would belt us and teach us and put us back into line. But we weren't the only two. We were two of 7 siblings. And as Dad was actually explaining to us, he said, I've written 7 books, and we sort of snickled at each other and looked at each other and wondered what he was actually talking about. But the way that we actually grew up and the way that we stand and walk today as men, and one beautiful sister of mine, she's achieved a lot in her life. She's actually won the Tamworth Best Female Vocalist back in 1987 and beat people like Gina Jeffries and stuff over in Tamworth. That was a story that she's actually written for her life with her 6 young men that she's actually raised and brought up. And myself, I have 6, 3 boys, 3 daughters, and 3 cheeky little grandchildren. But they're my stories that I'm actually writing. And every time I do a talk like this to schools and universities, I say to the students, you must sit and listen. But if you don't sit and listen, you'll never learn. And that knowledge that we carry in our hearts, within our souls, within our minds, and being in a living entity in our body, we must always tell those stories. And so what we raise and the way that we raise them is the way that your story ends. And I'm still writing mine. And my children have actually just started writing theirs. And my grandchildren are definitely writing theirs. So I thank my father for the knowledge that he actually gave us as his sons, young men, as we still walk today. And the very special one in my life is my wife and my mum, really. She's not here, so I can't, you know. But it's lovely because I've got a lady that's actually from Italy. She's Calabrese, from Delianova. And we grew up and we knew each other since grade 5 primary school in Highgate, just down the road. And as we grew and she went her way, I went my way, and we were both educated and had our kids, but we came back together. And so we walk in line, and she's definitely only about this big, but I listen to everything that she says. And Rosa, unfortunately, she can't be here. But I really do thank this evening, and as readers and writers, and the festival, its 18th year, 2021 for UWRF, and especially the Balinese and Hindu people that are here visiting this country, we welcome you with our hearts open and with the biggest smile that we can ever give you. And not only for them, but for each and every one of you people sitting here tonight. I really do hope that you enjoy this entertainment. And the actual festival actually reflects back on self-reflection. And, and it's very, very important that we do actually take a look at what our lives and where we're going within our lives. Because not only knowing the future and what it actually holds, especially with COVID, but we must always understand the history of where we've come from, and to respect the history, and to make these changes within our lives and every day that we walk, and to give information on to each other. The first thing I say, we must unify as human beings and to respect each other, to respect the love and the languages and the cultures that we actually carry within our hearts and our souls. So basically our welcome to countries have actually been all over Aboriginal Australia. And it actually gives the rights for people coming into this area, which is the Whadjuk lands. Further northwest is the UWRF people, my great-grandmother's lands. And towards the east, north, is the Balladong country. And it's always a pleasure to go back home to actually see our other families. But as we grew up, I grew up in a little town called Kellabarron. I was born and raised there, and as we came and we were about to leave Kella, I couldn't understand anything bigger than Kellabarron. And we were coming to a place called Perth. And in our language, we call Perth Bulu. The lands of my great-great-grandmother, who was actually born in Kings Park. And when settlement came through, she actually saw the sails coming up the river. And so hence the reasons why we were actually born in the Balladong country. And but coming back to Perth for our educational and our sporting reasons, and just for Dad, because he always said that, I want something for you boys that's bigger than what Kellabarron can offer you. And it's just to get educated, to walk amongst other men, other women, and to talk and speak your peace of mind, to stand and be counted as an Aboriginal person, and to give knowledge and respect to each other, no matter who they are. And so we landed in Highgate, and the first time I ever seen people of many different nations. And to me, I was a bit scared, but it was just a wonderful experience, because those people that I grew up in grade 5 with are still my brothers and sisters throughout my life now. And so to me, in my heart, they hold a very, very high regard. And I turned 52 yesterday, so happy birthday to me. But I thank you very much. And in getting to the welcome to country, if you don't stop me, I'll talk all night. But yarn by yarn, wanju ngany buja, wanju no puja deman ka maman ka. So hello and welcome to my country, Whadjuk country, our country, your country, lands of my grandmothers and my grandfathers who have walked this country before us. So as I'm standing speaking and you're seated, you're listening. Makes my heart proud, strong, and happy to be here. So I pray and ask the Creator above that you enjoy this festival, because I think it's wonderful for all nations throughout the world to unite as human beings, to right the wrongs of the past, to understand each other's culture, and to give blessings to the land which we actually live and walk and work on in unity as human beings. This song that I'll sing is actually about from Kings Park, and it's one of the oldest songs that's ever been recorded, and the history of Aboriginal culture. It's about the trapdoor spider, and it's just about unity of people coming together. When our tribe used to come down for trading time in Bulu here, Perth, they would trade things like the spearheads, which are very, very old. But I still keep this very close to my heart. And the memories and the stories that Dad has always told us and Mum's always told us, because it's very, very special that we will walk as people and unite as people. Wanare Ganmalana, Wanare Ganmalana, Poyongada Waningo, Boyongada Waningo, Wanare Ganmalana, Poyongada Waningo. Wanare Ganmalana, Wanare Ganmalana, Boyongada Waningo, Boyongada Waningo, Wanare Ganmalana, Boyongada Waningo, Wanare Ganmalana, Wanare Ganmalana, Boyongada Waningo, Boyongada Waningo, Wanare Ganmalana, Boyongada Waningo. Gee, thank you and have a lovely evening. God bless you all.
Thank you so much, Vaughan Maguire, for making us so welcome and sharing your stories. I loved listening to them. They were beautiful. Could I now introduce Truna Jaya, who will dance for us? Please make Truna welcome. Oh, wasn't that just amazing? She was stunning. Trina Jaya, and thank you for helping us celebrate this special occasion with such a wonderful performance. I think stories come in so many forms, don't they? And I would like to welcome those of you who are here that are writers, but I would like to especially welcome you if you are a reader, because I think all our writers articulate our present and imagine our future and help us acknowledge our past. Reading is such a special act of listening. It opens us to so many possibilities, and I think listening is something that we can find really difficult these days. That makes me sound old. But I just think it is such a magical connection, the connection between readers and storytellers, however you choose to appreciate your stories. Tonight we are celebrating the launch of the inaugural Ubud Writers and Readers Festival in Perth. The festival is the result of a unique bilateral collaboration between WritingWA and the Ubud Writers and Readers Festival in Bali. As I'm sure you all know, Ubud Writers and Readers Festival is internationally recognised as one of the world's great literary festivals, bringing together acclaimed writers and thought leaders from across Asia and further afield. While we're not able to travel to Bali at the moment, we are privileged to have the opportunity to experience this incredible festival of performance, discussion and ideas right here in Perth. In partnership with WritingWA, the Ubud Writers and Readers Festival have curated an extraordinary program that features internationally acclaimed best-selling author Amitav Ghosh, in addition to nearly 40 other writers, poets and journalists from Australia, Indonesia and around the world. The lineup of talent and conversations we have to look forward to over the next 2 days is incredible. We're going to hear soon from Janet Deneef. Janet is the director of the Ubud Writers and Readers Festival. But before we do, we'd like to share a short video with you all.
The Ubud Writers and Readers Festival returns with the theme Mulat Sareda, self-reflection, which is a Balinese Hindu philosophy, a spiritual principle of examining our actions, thoughts and values to ultimately build the deepest sense of self-understanding, wisdom and interconnectedness in the pursuit of Dharma, the truth. These are not normal times, and many of us are still trying to value and evaluate the turbulence of this journey to navigate a path to calmness, comfort and clarity. The festival will delve into self-reflection and beyond, into cultural introspection, human rights, animal rights, the environment, and to examine who we are, what unites and divides us, how we coexist on this planet, how we care for our planet. We will delve into tangible and imaginary landscapes across fields of dreams, of oceans, mountains, into deserted islands, ancient temples, jungles, forests, villages, cities, Bali, our beloved home, and Ubud, a place whose name simply means obat, medicine. To which parts of normal do we wish to return, and what lessons learned will we take into the future? Join us in a festival that promises to be extraordinary, because Bali is extraordinary.
It's my pleasure now to welcome Janet Deneve live from Ubud.
One kitchen, one drink, steady. Okay. One drink. Ready?
Yeah, okay.
Go.
Hi, Perth. Hi. And welcome to the Ubud Writers and Readers Festival, and welcome to the Perth Ubud Writers and Readers Festival. We're so excited that you're supporting our event this year. And we're actually filming our welcoming note at Taman Bacha, where we have a bit of a night market and a bit of a music thing happening as part of our festival. So we're connecting to you in Perth. And of course, we're very happy about this year's fantastic collaboration and partnership. We love our Perth friends. We love WritingWA. And it's been a lovely, long friendship over 12 years. We've invited or shared over 30 writers. So really excited that you've supported us this year to make an even better event. But of course, in any festival, I have to thank all the amazing people that made it happen. So let's have a look. First, I want to thank the Indonesian Consulate in Perth. Yay! Big round of applause. Yay! I'd like to thank the Australia-Indonesia Institute. Please, yay! I'd like to thank the Australia-Indonesian Youth Association. Yay! Lots of youth, yes, Indonesian full of youth. Of course, I'd like to thank Andrew and the tech guys that are making this happen and working overtime to pull it all together. Yay! Yeah. Again, as I said, WritingWA, a huge thanks. Yay! And of course, the Reshabai Paul and the team, all those gorgeous staff that are working there at the moment. Woo! And biggest thanks to the most angelic, gorgeous creature, Sharon Flindell, who's been a huge support over many, many years. She's been such a fantastic friend and a great supporter of the Ubud Writers and Readers Festival. So thank you, Perth. Have a great weekend, and we're looking forward to sharing our sessions, and terima kasih banyak. And we're all thanking you from Ubud. Terima kasih. Bye.
Doesn't it look warm? It's been a long winter. Thank you, Janet. I would now like to invite Mr. Nanda Avalos, Consul for Economic and Socio-Cultural Affairs, Consulate General of the Republic of Indonesia in Perth, to address us on behalf of the Indonesian Consulate. Thank you.
Good evening. Learning from my experience, it's always tough to deliver government type of remarks after a wonderful dance and videos just like this, but I'll try my best. If you could just bear with me for the next few seconds. May I recognize the distinguished members of committees of WritingWA and all the members of the committees for this wonderful event. And of course, thanking them for the most gracious invitation for the Consul General to participate in this occasion. The theme, I understand, is the 18th of its kind after a certain type of postponement last year. And I'm glad to witness that this 18th event seamlessly organized by the wonderful committee. Writers and Readers Festival is even more relevant in the peak of information age as we are having now, for a good reason. Literary works is actually the oldest cyberspace that predates the current one by more than 5,000 years. Actually, it's a virtual town square where folks meet, ideas interact, and this year's theme, Ms. Mulat Sarira, or self-reflection in English, captures actually millennia-old human longing to understand ourselves. This reflection stands not for nothing. For knowing one's true self are the path towards living the Dharma. Mulat Sarira actually the path towards the Dharma in various Nusantara culture, not only in Balinese culture. Linked with the Dharma means the cosmological obligation of oneself. which transcends all of us, even beyond anthropospheres. In turn, Dharma means nothing if not proven through noble works for its fulfillment. Therefore, the concept of Dharma linked strongly to bhakti or noble works. Noble works mean to give something good in return to our surroundings as a solemn celebration of our existence. And to keep doing so in posterity as long as we live. The same spirit actually extends to what we are doing now. In our level, which is of course from my part of the Dharma, is to bridge between our two great nations, most particularly in this great state of Western Australia. Of course, definitely. Lovely being here, the best spot in the world. Yeah. Even, of course, in the midst of pandemics. So lovely to be here. And that's part of Dharma from my part, of the great Dharma, is to link the aspirations from readers and writers from both sides in any way we can. Of course, I'm not a writer myself. I might be a reader, but not a writer. But this is a great Dharma where everyone can participate and contribute our 5 cents to it. Therefore, it's lovely that this initiative bridges our communities, including all part of Australia, most particularly Western Australia and Bali, where Indonesia and Bali is part of Indonesia, is a vibrant part of Indonesia. Therefore, this occasion stands as one of the milestones in the closeness of our peoples. Having said that, I really thankful for being here. May I once again thank you all and wish you all best of wishes in your literary adventures. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pak Nanda, and thank you for the lovely things you say about... I'm sorry, go ahead, catch up. I think Pak Nanda would rather be in shorts. I think we'd all rather be in shorts. It's not far away. I'll just try and speak a little more loudly. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to ask local writer, the author of the new collection Vociferate, Emily Sun, to share a sample of her brilliant poetry with us. Thank you, Emily.
Okay. Selamat malam semua, saya Sunking Wing. Title of this poem is called National Treasures Coming Home. My boss, the head nurse, says she has a collection of Ming Dynasty crockery, Qing Dynasty snuff bottles, and a Shang Dai bronze tripod vase, always filled with fresh pomegranates, looted by her ancestors or bought at Sotheby's for all the tea in China. I'm the poor cousin, the others got more. Come for dinner, you'll see them all. I disliked her then, I dislike her now, but it's Queen Victoria I should 更讨厌, throw rotten eggs or spray 4 bandits on the pedestal where she sits in the park at the end of Great George Street. Luti was her Pekingese, say it in Cantonese, bucking gull. It is my boss, not Victoria, who wants me to eat beef stroganoff and polenta off my ancestors' plate, sniff the pot puree she's placed in rhinoceros shell-lined bottles, translate the inked poems about ancient fish, and explain why the toad has red eyes, flared nose, and only 3 legs. For dessert, she'll make a pavlova in her new Bosch oven with fresh cherries, seconds from local farms. I usually pay to admire stolen goods encased in glass cabinets, national treasures and ancient clays I cannot afford to buy. I've seen the Egyptian treasures excavated by the men who live in Downton Abbey. Your Chinese mouth would not touch these Chinese treasures had we not salvaged history back to Portsmouth. Look at what happened to the temples of Baoshamin and the giant Buddhas of Bamiyan. We have an understanding, she and I. I order pens, papers, ink cartridges, pantry supplies, soaps, malted milk, and chocolate biscuits for children who attend our geriatric clinic. I add 2 extra boxes of tampons. She tells me they are for the patients, of course. I nod when she says people should pay for their healthcare because she gives me hour-long lunch breaks and she calls me good girl. So I say, I will come to dinner. I will see if Russian gravy tastes better on centuries-old porcelain plates patterned by cobalt and manganese and ingests the same trace elements as the imperial court nobles who ate Thai off their crockery fresh out of the kiln. But my cousin says that our people were peasants who woke early to pick grains of rice, or maybe it was wheat, with our hands. We were foreign to the Forbidden City. I asked him what I should wear to a meal with descendants of drug dealers who poisoned a nation with opioids, rendered it sick, too yellow and diseased to walk in leafy green meadows when they could not cure their addiction to yamcha. He says, I will lend you my vest cut from the uniform of a Sung dynasty eunuch. It does not fit me, but it will indeed fit you. Perhaps, perhaps, perhaps. Hallelujah.
I know I keep turning around to stare at the screen, but I just love the artwork that has come with this beautiful festival. It's so glorious. That was fantastic, Emily. Thank you. And Emily's poetry collection is Vociferate. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we have a wonderful taste of some of the cultural pleasures that are in front of us this weekend. That concludes the formalities for this evening. Please stay and enjoy the fabulous hospitality on offer here at the Rechabite. And if nobody touches those salmon canapes down there, I'm going to stampede that way in just a second. Thank you very much for joining us this evening, and we look forward to seeing you again over the next 2 days, and we hope you enjoy this truly extraordinary festival. Hope to see some of you soon. Thank you.